Your service, your product, what you bring to the professional world is of top priority. If I am uploading a video, it has to be 100% fantastic to the best of my professional abilities. If I'm a part of a team, I'm going to give 110% of myself to that team for the sake of the organization that I'm a part of. That's called having a professional mindset. Sport is the first pillar that all my organizations are built upon, but the second very crucial pillar is everything we learned from the military veterans who appeared on TRS. There's a reason that so many veterans find themselves in the corporate world post their military careers. Whether you're trying to fetch that really healthy pay package, or you're trying to grow your business quicker than it's already grown, your thought processes and your work processes need to show predictability, need to have this kind of fabric of thought. In the long term, you're paid for how often and with how much consistency you can deliver results, and that only happens through military style systems and processes. Ownership mentality, also related to the skill of delegation. This is what a lot of young entrepreneurs struggle with, and ownership mentality is what a lot of young professionals struggle with. Often, if you're asking yourself why you aren't getting a promotion, or as a business owner, if you're asking yourself why your business isn't growing, it boils down to the same ownership mentality concept. When we began as young entrepreneurs, we were very, very focused on our first 15 or so hires over the 2-year period. We'd only hire if we had lots of clarity, if they fit our sports mentality vibe, and if we felt like these 15 people, all of them are leaders. You have to look for leadership traits in your first few hires, in the first chapter of your business career. And if you're a young professional, know that leadership is a skill that you can learn. But it begins with a sense of ownership mindset. That's how you fetch the fastest promotions for your own career. If you've joined an organization, you've got to treat it like your own baby. Work like that, you will get noticed by your seniors. And if you're in an organization that doesn't promote promotions because of ownership culture, switch your organization. As for business owners, you've got to be a coach to your early team members. Your core team has to simply receive a bit of feedback if they make a mistake, but you've got to give them room to make mistakes so that they groom themselves into being leaders. The best organizations are built out of people who are built within the organization. That's what Zomato's followed. That's what our organization has followed. And most big tech startups in the world, up to a certain point, allow the initial set of hires to become the pillars of the organization. In the same way that money compounds, human growth compounds as well. So a bunch of human beings working together, understanding team culture together will lead to bigger results in the long term. Ownership mindset is something that should be imbibed in the whole organization from the beginning, but more importantly, if you're a young professional, practice having an ownership mindset as early as possible. In the long term, for me, I've understood that the professional world is like a battlefield and you're going into war with soldiers by your side. You want soldiers who are capable of fending for themselves, who showcase leadership on the battlefield, in the middle of battle, who make their own decisions for the sake of the organization. This is called the ownership mindset that you can learn from the military. Jocko Willink once told Joe Rogan that leadership is a skill that can be learned, but it's learned through practice. Now imagine you have military culture spread across your organization. Everyone is encouraged to work on their leadership skills. And initially, when we were starting on Monk Entertainment and BeerBiceps, one of the best things that we did from a professional standpoint was that we thought that the first 15 people we hire are going to be our long-term leaders. We cherry-picked people. We hired very, very slowly with a lot of clarity, and only when the work was overpowering all the people present in the organization. We brought in soldiers, we brought in leaders, and that's what set up the base for all the growth we saw over the next 10 years. Often in media industries, people only notice the glamour aspect of it, the shiny highlights showcased on Instagram. All I want to say is that to produce content regularly, you need systems and processes. And then a few content pieces taking off lead to moments like this. This and all the moments that find their way to Instagram. But it's all built first and foremost on SOPs. Very strong protocols that we have placed within our organization because we want to make it system dependent and not person dependent. If a part of your organizational work is based on one person's capabilities, then you're placing yourself in kind of a dangerous position. If that person falls ill or they leave the organization, that part of the organization gets shaken up. While designing the architecture of your organization, follow system-oriented thinking. Specifically, seeking feedback ferociously and not being afraid of intense feedback. The leadership rule is that when you're imparting feedback to anyone, you're supposed to mix in good feedback at all times along with some negative feedback, but from the perspective of someone who's getting feedback. And this has to be leaders in the organization as well. Even the founders require feedback regularly. Listen in when your teammates are highlighting a flaw in your work or an area where you can improve yourself. Seek feedback ferociously, especially in media careers, especially in startups. Arrogance is something that affects the best performers at some point in their careers. If you're surrounded by yes men and women, you're never going to grow. If you're surrounded by people who challenge you at least once every quarter, I assure you, growth will never ever stop. When you're receiving negative input, take it in your stride like a soldier. Don't try battling back. Don't try cutting someone off while they're giving you inputs. Open your ears and just listen to what they're saying. Think about it, even if you don't agree to it completely initially. You've got to sit with that feedback and view it objectively, not emotionally. This is that one sub-point that backbenchers from schools and college pick up on very early in their career to flourish in their career and go ahead of the front benchers. It's called being a top quality professional. Professionalism, it's about speed of delivery, punctuality in professional environments, presenting yourself well, dressing like a professional, behaving like a professional, and most importantly, being very, very serious about your craft, about the product that you're delivering, about the service that you're providing. Your service, your product, what you bring to the professional world is of top priority. If I am uploading a video, it has to be 100% fantastic to the best of my professional abilities. If I'm a part of a team, I'm going to give 110% of myself to that team for the sake of the organization that I'm a part of. That's called having a professional mindset. And if you simply imbibe this one factor, it's going to help you stand out from the crowd, because in today's day and age, lots of people are letting their professionalism loosen up a bit. You know that it's a soldier simply by how they stand, by how they carry themselves, by how they dress. An officer-like appearance, an officer-like projection. You've got to project yourself like a professional, but you've also got to focus on your own sense of professionalism. Few sub-points within the sub-point: punctuality, presentability, being well-groomed, being well-dressed, etc. Repeatability, presenting the same quality of product or service repeatedly. That's what you get paid for in the long term. You can also spot great professionals in an office environment. And in the long term, all forms of career growth are based on your sense of professionalism.